Early on in Genesis, you're going to come across this story of a man named Enoch. It says that when Enoch was 65 years old, he had a son named Methuselah. When he had Methuselah, it said that Enoch walked steadily with God for 300 years, and then he was translated, for God had taken him. So here's a man who goes into heaven without dying. This is Enoch, who's said to be the seventh after Adam in the genealogy. Translation is an important word because to be translated helps someone who speaks another language understand something. So we, being humans on earth, if we want to gain recognition from the higher powers and higher authorities, we have to be translated, because humans and angels speak a different language. And just like powerlessness and power speaks a different language, being finite and being eternal are of two different languages across a myriad of dialects. But to be translated acknowledges the embracing of power. When you're really understanding of power and really worthy of its possession, power acknowledges you. Power gives way to your rule. You become translated. You become understood by God. You become translated by God. And God takes you, which is to say you get received early on, which is to say you pass the test early on. So how do you get translated in this life, where the things that happen in these ages and times with events that seem to just be killing people, it only seems to be bringing you to the next level without dying, a level that it would have probably literally killed people to reach. Instead of you dying to get there, you're being understood and thereby being given access to the next level without the big death that takes place beforehand. A radical story like this to happen so early in the scriptures is particularly puzzling, because it immediately challenges your ability to decode things in a parable way. And it challenges your faith in the largest way right away. Because at the end of everything else that comes in the Bible, what do you want to do? You know, for the most part, you want to go to heaven. And if you could get there without dying, all the better. So you hear all this talk about the rapture and a lot more talk about getting ready. But you understand being raptured simply means to be swept up. So if you can be swept up by this information, you can be translated. It has nothing to do with whether or not you die. They never tell you in King James's canonized collection of scriptures what Enoch was translated into, but in the Talmud it does tell you that Enoch was translated into the archangel known as Metatron, who is called the heavenly scribe. So again, you want to be translated in this life, which is to pass to higher levels without being held back by these significant, symbolic, and metaphorical and literal deaths that can take place in your transition. But what is your Methuselah? What are you being given birth to? What are you begetting that allows you to walk steadily with God, to walk steadily with absolute power consistently, to the point where you're acknowledged by God, where you're acknowledged by power, where you're acknowledged by good luck, acknowledged by fortune, to the point where you're given favor. You seem to have a rabbit's foot, not because you were born under a certain set of circumstances, but because you're enacting certain timeless universal truths that when put in motion, you can benefit from these things. So you're stepping into this thing and you're understanding the translation of the information that's being set before you. And like begets like. So you sow just as you reap what you sow. So if you're understanding the translation of power, then power is going to understand the translation of you. And then power is going to acknowledge you as someone who has been taken and or received by absolute power. And from there, you go on into a different role. So Enoch is no longer physical. He's now in a spiritual body full of light. So he gets transferred, transformed, and translated. So again, this is Super T Sigma of Sigma Programming. I thank you for your time and attention. Reaching is teaching. If it takes 1 million videos to reach 1 million views, so be it. But in the meantime, know yourself for yourself and continue to vibrate very high and maintain balance. Peace.